Well, today we were discussing this chapter number 3 from our syllabus, that is the laser oscillators. Now, before going for this laser oscillators, we have to understand few concepts from electronics like amplifier. Now, in case of amplifier, you might have learned these different types of amplifiers, class A, class B, class C type of amplifiers. So whenever certain input is given, output is increased. So whatever small signal we provide as an input, the output obtained is found to be a very larger one. So that the basic concept of amplifier you might have seen earlier. Okay. So what that amplifier does, this is a device, this is an input, small input is to be given, and as an output we get an output is larger. So this operation is called as amplification, or the device which gives this type of output, larger output of the same frequency whatever we have given in input frequency, that is called as an amplifier. And there is one more electronic circuit, that is called as oscillator. So there are different types of oscillators you have already seen, that is called as Bainbridge oscillator, Wien's oscillator, Bainbridge oscillator, then Hartley oscillator, Colpite oscillator. Lot many names are there. So what oscillators do? Oscillators are basically a circuits which gives out a certain frequency, a particular frequency, set frequency. So when we set an oscillator for a particular frequency, this particular oscillator is supposed to give a signal of that constant frequency, and that oscillates. So this oscillations is one of the very important and fundamental phenomenon in electronics. Now these things we are going to discuss in terms of laser. So laser oscillator means, now these are basically optical oscillators. We are giving a small signal at one end and we are getting a big signal or big output at the other end. That operation is called as amplification. And here also, as I said earlier, in case of electronic oscillator, we have to give for functioning of any oscillator, electronic oscillator, we have to provide certain feedback, and feedback is that output is fed back to this input again, depending upon inverting, non-inverting input, at which input we are providing this type of feedback. It becomes a case of positive feedback or negative feedback. So here what is the feedback in optical laser or laser of oscillators? What is the feedback? That comparison we are going to do initially, and then we are going to discuss first. Next thing is that optical resonator, how this action of optical resonator takes place, what are the different components of any of the laser block diagram, that is called as laser block diagram. We are going to understand with all these things. And there is one small derivation, that is called as threshold condition. There is certain threshold condition below which this oscillator or laser oscillator doesn't work, but if that particular condition is reached or attained in case of this type of optical oscillators, then these laser oscillators can function very nicely. So all these operations we are going to see one by one. In simple case, as I said earlier, I am also going to provide notes of this chapter 2 when we finish this particular chapter again. So that particular things as we are going to discuss as one by one as follows. So first point here we are going to look is, as I said earlier, this is called as optical oscillator. Okay, and before that we will just draw a simple diagram of this oscillator, that is called as let's take for confusion, we will take this as a case of this electronic oscillator. So that we will understand first, and then we will go for the second, that is the optical type of oscillator. Now in electronics we have this type of device. Okay, this is given to be a some input is provided to this, and I'm not showing inverting, non-inverting input. So just I'm showing this to be E in, and this is my E out. Okay, potential, this is given as outside or output of this, and here this is what we join this terminals like this, and here we provide something. Okay, there is a mechanism that provides, that is called as gain, and this oscillator is provided an input as shown this. So now this is called as an electronic oscillator, and this is called as feedback. As I said earlier, depending upon to which input, inverting, non-inverting, we provide this feedback. Based upon that, it is called as an this positive feedback as well as negative feedback. Okay, so basically a laser is a very much similar to this electronic oscillator. How in the electronic oscillator, an amplifier tuned to a specific frequency is provided with a positive feedback as shown in this particular diagram what we have shown. When the oscillator is switched on, any noise signal, whatever small noise signal is given as an input of the appropriate frequency appearing at the input will be amplified. That is what earlier we have seen this action of amplification. The amplifier output is fed back to this input and is amplified again. So this operation, so output becomes larger, then it is given to this input again, depending upon the gain of this amplifier, this output goes on increasing, and this cycle of operation, so output is bigger, given to input again it becomes bigger output, again it is given to the input, and that's how this operation of output to input through this feedback mechanism that goes for a longer time. So the amplifier output is fed back to the input and the amplified again and again, so on. Okay, so this is a continue. A stable output is quickly reached. Now, depending upon the properties of this oscillator, a stable output is reached, and the oscillator acts as a source of particular frequency. That's how this particular amplification goes on increasing. They reach a certain stage where this particular amplifier becomes a source of a particular frequency. That is what the electronic oscillator in case already we have seen. In case of low frequency electronic oscillations, that means if the frequency of that oscillator is very low, the feedback may be given using electronic wires. So when we use this type of electronic oscillators, if the frequencies are very low, feedback can be directly given through these wires as shown in this case. However, at high frequencies, waves cannot be confined in wires, and hence different kind of feedback mechanism are to be used. So in case of higher frequencies, we have to provide different types of feedback mechanism, that is called as cavity, that is not shown here. And at microwave frequencies, for example, cavities are used. Now cavity is something, what it is called, it is that is particular type of assembly where this type of electromagnetic waves or microwaves are supposed to get oscillated, and this particular waves is to be provided through this cavity. Actually, we are not interested much more in this electronic oscillator here, but we are just getting comparison for that. Now cavities are completely enclosed metal boxes, so a metal box is to be provided there, and such as we are drawing this figure later on, in which standing wave is produced. So when we are using microwave type of radiations, and in that case wires are not useful, wires are not able to conduct these type of waves, therefore we require cavities, which are basically a metal boxes, and the waves which are supposed to be that particular type of microwaves which are supposed to be standing waves that are to be produced in this case. If we have to use such a closed cavity at light frequency, now this is laser, in case of laser, its dimensions should be of the order of wavelength of that particular light, and the size of that will be less than 0.5 millimeters, and preparing such type of cavity oscillators is a very big problem in case of electronic oscillators or in case of these optical oscillators too. And it is not possible to fabricate such type of micro cavities having very small size, and for that a particular solution was provided by the Stowens and Shawlow. Okay, so this optical oscillator, this concept was given by Stowens, Townes, sorry, WNES, okay? Townes, Stowens, and they are, the second name is SCHE, Shawlow. Okay, Shawlow. These are the two scientists. They had given this concept. In spite of using cavity oscillators, we can use mirrors. So using mirrors in this case, that helps, or that is actually serves the purpose of this type of optical oscillators or cavity oscillators, which is not possible in case of electronic oscillators. So what is required in electronic oscillators, same can be obtained in this type of laser oscillators, provided in spite of using cavities or micro cavities, if we use a pair of plane mirror or convex mirrors, and if this type of plane mirror or convex mirrors are used, the given apparatus works like an laser oscillator. So this first concept was given by Stowens and this Shawlow, as I said. that there is no necessary for that these two, they showed that there is no necessity for a closed cavity at light frequencies or the optical frequencies, and an open cavity in the form of two parallel mirrors. So here in case of electronic circuit we need cavity like this. So cavity is a metal box where this type of signals are supposed to be formed in this particular case, which is called as a standing waves there. Instead of that, use two mirror pairs of two mirrors. These mirrors are to be used. So mirror M1 and mirror M2. And when this type of optical radiation is given here, it goes forth by like this. So it gets reflected back and again. So this type of cavity oscillator, this type of optical oscillator is produced with the help of these mirrors, and this concept was given by Towens and Shawlow, as we have discussed now. Okay, just for comparison, actually this electronic oscillator is not a part of our discussion. We did not worry about this. How laser oscillators are to be created, optical oscillators are to be created. For understanding this, we have taken this comparison. Okay, and that how gain is there, how electronic oscillator works, what is the cavity, what is the help of the use of the cavity there. That means as we go on increasing the frequency of this oscillator, instead of wires we have to use cavity. And as we know that these optical signals or optical light or electromagnetic radiations in the optical range, they have still higher frequencies, and therefore instead of using wires or cavities, we can use a pair of mirrors as an oscillator, and that works as an optical oscillator. So this concept was given by this particular scientist, as I said earlier, and therefore we can draw this diagram here just to understand this particular purpose. So this optical oscillator. So now this is what I'm drawing, a diagram that can be shown here. So you can draw this diagram if you want. This is a medium, active medium, already we have discussed. So this is the active medium, and from that medium we are having one mirror. This is a concave mirror. Mirror at one of its side, and second mirror at this another side. So both of these are the mirrors which are shown this particular way. So this is M1 and this is M2, mirror 1 and mirror 2. So maybe different names are given there, and this is open cavity. So this in this sense, that is in sense shown there. So this light radiations reflected, so whatever generated here, this radiation goes here, gets reflected back, again goes here, then it gets reflected to this mirror, again gets reflected, and like this. And whatever radiation generated here, which is through this cavity here or this particular material active medium here, so this is called as open cavity. This is called as open cavity. And what you will understand what is use of this. So whenever such type of radiation is passing, photon is passing through this active medium, this is your active medium, and whenever it is passing through this, it is going to perform this stimulated emission of the atoms which are found to be in the excited state here, and thereby there is an amplification, there is enhancement of the energy of the radiations which are given out by this laser medium, and that's how operation of this amplification is possible in this particular case. So this is what a case, or that is called as amplifier or active medium. Okay, amplifier or active medium. So what happens in this electronic circuit, same thing happens optically in this type of device, which is called as optical oscillator. So this particular concept was given by Towens, and this idea was first time given by Towens and Shawlow, as I said. Therefore, in case of lasers, feedback is obtained by placing active medium between pairs of the mirror. Okay, I'll write in very short here. In lasers, feedback is obtained by placing, okay, if you want, you can write this statement, placing the active medium between a pair of mirrors, mirrors. Pair of mirrors which are facing each other. Which are facing each other. So their reflecting edges are to be in front of each other, facing each other. The role of the input signal is played by a chance, okay, any ordinary photon continuously emitted along the optic axis of the laser rod or the tube, which is shown here as I shown in the diagram. The photon triggers many stimulated emissions in its wake, and the photons at the end are reflected back. So this, whenever this is a particular photon coming in, if it is, this is called as a chance photon, and this photon is traveling through this active medium, giving out this type of radiations or the photon again, and these photons going through this type of active medium again gives you stimulated radiation. At the end we will get a large number of photons here which are traveling toward this, and they get reflected back again. When they travel through again through this medium, they again gives you secondary or another type of this emissions, that is stimulated emissions, and large number of photons comes out of this end again, get reflected back. That means this type of photons which are generated here, these photons are reflected back and forth in by these two mirrors, and that is what like a standing wave generated in this case of this optical cavity. Here in this case of this optical cavity, these photons are supposed to go under this type of multiple reflection, and that is an operation of amplification. So this, and every time whenever such a photon goes to this cavity, it produces a stimulated radiation, and that's how operation optical amplification of the radiation is possible, and that concept is as shown by this particular diagram. Okay, so the photon triggers many stimulated emissions in its wake, and the photons at the end are reflected back into the medium by mirror again and again. The photons reverse their direction and travel through the medium till they reach the mirror at the other end. Substantial amplification occurs as the light beam is reflected. Okay, so we'll write this statement here just to understand this particular statement. I'll write a short note here. The substantial amplification. So this diagram shows you how SUBSTAN, substantial, large application. Substantial means large. Substantial amplification occurs as the light beam is reflected several times at the mirrors and travel through active medium. Travel through active medium. Gaining strength in each passage. Okay, so each passage. That's what I have tried to explain what happens in electronic oscillator. Same thing happens in these laser oscillators or optical oscillators. Here, in spite of having this type of cavity or in the circuit, we can use two pair of mirrors facing each other. In between, this optical or active medium is to be kept. Whenever a chance photon or random photon comes in of that particular frequency or energy, this causes a single stimulated emission, and this particular stimulated emission photon causes further stimulated emission, comes out of this particular active medium, reaches to mirror M2, then gets back reflected back again. It travels through this particular active medium. During that process, passage itself again provides further number of stimulated emissions, and all these photons, they travel in the direction as shown here to the mirror M1. They again get reflected back, and this process of reflection and its travel or its passage to the active medium, that goes on continuously, and that's how these large number of cells are produced, and thereby the intensity of the energy form, or the what we call amplification of the energy takes place. That's how this particular simple principle is interesting thing as we have shown here. So this particular device is called as optical resonator. Okay, so we'll write last statement. This simple device is called as optical resonator. Optical resonator. Okay, so to understand the difference between what happens in the electronic oscillators and what happens in the this type of optical oscillators, we have taken these particular statements here. Okay, now let's go to the next point, or this related to this particular figure, that is called as okay, I think we should go, I'll take this below because some more points are remaining that we will discuss, and then we'll come to this figure later on. Okay. I'll take this down. Yeah, there is one more a very important concept remaining that will be seen here. So again we will comparing this. In case of electronic oscillators, it is the tank circuit. There is one tank circuit or resonating circuit that builds up large output with moderate input. Small input, large output is given with the help of this type of tank circuit. In case of laser, the pair of mirror constitutes an optical resonator. Okay, so that this role of this tank circuit is played by this type of plane mirrors. This structure is actually an open resonator. Okay, that is what shown in the diagram. As its sides are open, only two ends are packed where there are two mirrors have been kept there, and it is known as, so this is also known as Fabry-Perot resonator. Okay, so this device which we have shown here, this is known as name of this is given to be Fabry, Fabry-Perot, P-A-R-O-T, Perot resonator. So this is called as Fabry-Perot resonators. The mirror could be either plane or curved. Okay, depends, and are designed in such that one of them reflects all the light. Okay, so that is what one very specificality we have to do. This M1 may be plane or this curved mirror, and M2, and this has 100% reflection power. Okay, reflection, and this has a little smaller, and it is almost 98% reflection power. Why? Because if it goes on continuously reflecting between these two mirrors, then there will be a such stage will come, this entire apparatus will burst, because of large amount of energy will be stored in this type of device, and it will become a bomb, or it will burst. Not to occur that, one of the mirrors should be there should be some transmission. So here 0% transmission, and here 2% transmission or more than that, and whenever such transmission is given, the radiations which are created here, or laser radiation, can come out of through this. So this, when it undergoes this type of operation, reflection multiplied, some part of that comes out, and this is what your laser light. Okay, so that's how to understand this particular principle. We have to go further. So this particular oscillator is called as Fabry-Perot resonator. The mirrors could be either plane or curved, or are designed such that one of them reflects all the light. So 100% reflection is there of one of the mirror, and that reaches it, while the other one reflects most of the light incident on it. Okay, so that a smaller one, let that a small portion of light is transmitted through this mirror as the laser output beam. So to second mirror, the mirror M2 is having some less reflection property, and thereby it can transmit some of the light, and whatever light transmitted is nothing but the laser light that is to be taken out of this type of resonator. Otherwise it will go on resonating, it will go on oscillating further and further, and a large amount of energy will be stored in a very small space, and there can be a bursting of this apparent device. To not occur that, one of the mirror has some less reflection power as compared to first one of the mirror. So M1 has 100%, M2 has some less than that. Depending upon in which direction we require this type of laser beam, we can have a choice of all these mirrors. Okay, So let's see the basic components of laser. Okay, so we can go for a block diagram of a laser, and this is very very important because all the devices which we are going to discuss further, this will be based upon this type of simple principle what we are drawing here. Okay, so this entire thing, as I said, I'll draw some simple circuit diagram here. This is called as active medium. So this is a rod or material of such manner which is called as active medium, AM, active medium. Then there is one assembly which is called as pumping. It is defined, or it is given later used for, that is P, or pumping. Pumping is pumping mechanism, and that is required to create this population inversion inside this active medium. Okay, so that is what this is the pumping. Then there are, as I said here, there are two mirrors. So one mirror is here. Okay, I'm putting this mirror of this type of concave mirror, and there is another mirror here, same type of mirror, and this mirror is again a concave mirror. So this is M, and this is called as OM. Okay, why these names are given this way, that also we'll discuss later on. Then this is what a cavity is produced here in between these two. Actually, I should have drawn this mirror like this, and of the same size, both the mirrors of the same size. And here this is active medium, and this is how they provide energy to such that this pumping operation goes on. This is what a pumping mechanism, as I said, and because of that, there occurs a population inversion, and random photon coming in that causes a stimulated emission. And now out of this, as I said here, this is the AM, the beam comes out of this second mirror. So here there is one more assembly that is called as IE. I just mentioned what this is. The laser is, okay, to get a certain specific property of the laser, this apparatus is used there, and when it comes out, then again this radiations comes out, and this is the part here which is shown, the laser beam. So laser beam comes out of the second mirror, and that is shown here. Okay, so this is your laser beam, and this entire assembly is to be kept in a vacuum tube, okay, or the tube with very very low pressure, vacuum tube. So this is what a basic components of any of the laser as shown. This is an assembly where all these things have been kept in this manner. So there is a pumping mechanism, there is active medium, there is some mirrors M1 and OM, and this becomes a cavity oscillator, or this is what we have optical oscillator. This is the optical oscillator, and this laser, so light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. So there is amplification. This amplification occurs because of this mechanism, and here we are carrying out this stimulated emissions, and to go for this population inversion we require this pumping mechanism. So every laser, whatever laser we see, this type of conventional lasers, they have at least minimum these type of parts: active medium, or that is oscillator, active optical oscillator. There is a pumping mechanism that is not written only here but not shown in the actual diagram, that pumps the atoms to this excited state or metastable states. This operation, or whenever this type of population inversion occurs, a single photon coming in, a random photon, that can cause a stimulated emission. This stimulated emission carries out further stimulated emission. When it comes out, it approaches on mirror OM, gets reflected, takes a second path. Through that process also, its passage again, it carries out further oscillations, further stimulated emissions. Then this further stimulated emission comes out from this active medium from the left side, gets reflected from the mirror M. Again same operation is carried out, and this multiple times this type of lasers are this type of stimulated emissions are carried out by this type of laser beam passing through this active medium. And whenever such a stage is reached, enough energy is collected or gain is there. Now a laser beam comes out of this second mirror which is having some less reflectivity, some transmission component is there. Because of that type of transmission property of the second mirror, the laser beam comes out of that particular, as shown in this diagram. So you have to remember this diagram forever. These are the minimum components for any laser Without that, this optical laser will not work here. Okay, so the basic components of laser may be represented in this particular block diagram. A laser consists of active, okay, we'll write in brief. A laser consists of an active medium. An active medium. We have seen this definition earlier. In the diagram, we have shown it to be AM, active medium, placed between two mirrors. Okay, one is M and second is OM. Okay, OM, and is pumped PUMPED, pumped by a pumping mechanism. Now this pumping mechanism can be anything: electronic pumping, optical pumping, or like that. Pumping mechanism, or that is called as pumping agent, that is indicated by this P. As additional element, okay, an additional element in the diagram, it is shown by this IE. Okay, additional element may be sometimes located within the cavity, within the optical cavity, of course, optical cavity, to achieve certain desired characteristics, like a filter, certain desired characteristics. Okay, to maintain this monochromaticity, to have this directionality, like that, all these cases. Okay, certain desired characteristics in the laser output. Okay, so these two paragraphs are very important in the point of sense when we go for discussion of this particular chapter. So what is optical resonator, how it works, and what are the different components or a block diagram of any laser. So any laser at least have these type of mechanisms or this type of components which is shown in this particular diagram. Okay, now let's go for this description of this diagram, and that is why we have to go for a next article. Give a title that is called as action of optical resonator. Action of optical resonator. Okay, another very important topic of this subtopic of this particular chapter. And now this diagram shows you, I'll just make size of this diagram a little smaller just to make it have some space for us. Are you able to look this, Divya?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Now this shows you. Okay, see the diagram E. It is a reflecting mirror on the left hand side, semi-transparent mirror that is shown on the right hand side. Now you are able to see reflecting mirror is shown to be completely dark, so 100% reflection is there. On the right hand side, there is a semi-transparent mirror, that means 100% reflection is not there. There is some transmission is also possible through this particular mirror. So these two pairs of mirrors are placed at the two ends of this active medium, so that is in the non-excited state. So this everything is shown to be host material, and all these atoms are shown to be active centers. Now this diagram E is the non-active or non-excited states. Now what will happen when this pumping starts? When this particular pumping starts, now this particular radiations will be absorbed. Okay, this figure B, diagram B, that shows you this particular radiations will be absorbed by the active centers or the atoms in this active medium, and they will go from their ground state to this excited state, which are the excited states or metastable states. And in that process there will be some spontaneous emission may occur, and because of that spontaneous emission, the radiations which are given out in this particular spontaneous emission, that means optical pumping is continuous, that is going on. Some of the atoms are going in the excited state, some of the atoms are going in the metastable states, and in that case large number of radiations are emitted, remaining of the two remaining sides or the other sides of that open sides of that particular optical medium as shown here. So these are the random photons which are coming out of this. This is what your B operations B. Now when the stimulated emissions start occurring, in that case this should be white and black. Okay, so whenever this type of atoms which undergoes this type of stimulated emission, now you will find that there are certain photons which are having a specific directions as shown here. In spite of having random directions, these photons are supposed to have a certain specific direction as shown by this. This is why once this stimulated emission starts, now in fact these radiations are going in random direction. So whatever direction of this input photon, the same direction output photons will be starting or will be going out. And in that particular process, as long as this particular stimulated emission process starts, a beam of photons starts building there. So in the first case, in the diagram B, random these orientations are shown of the photon beams, but here in the diagram C, once this process of that means sufficient level of this optical pumping is reached, the population inversion is reached. Now this stimulated emission will start, and when this stimulated emission starts, now this type of radiations are coming in a particular direction as shown in this particular case. And now when this particular stimulated emissions, okay, having certain phase, certain frequency and certain energy, they reach to this mirror M2 or this mirror OM, this starts, okay, that is what D diagram shows you. Now this is called as optical feedback. So when this radiation, stimulated emission radiations reach this mirror OM, now the second mirror on the right hand side mirror, they start reflecting, and as they get reflected in this process, they again carry out certain stimulated emissions, and that's how the radiations in that having a particular direction, the opposite direction that is shown here. So this is what an optical feedback is reached. Now whatever, if 10 numbers of photons are coming from mirror 2 to mirror 1, they are going to carry out this type of stimulated emission in a large scale. So this number is going to be increased. That is what the operation of amplification. All these photons will reach on the mirror on the left hand side, which is perfectly reflective mirror, and therefore this number goes on increasing, and that's what the process of light amplification is shown by this diagram E here. Now once this light, now the number of photons which are going in a particular direction, now there are no random photons are there, stimulated emissions are there. Whatever number of photons emitted, they will have a particular direction, and now this time this all the photons they will get directed toward this mirror M2, and this process of this OM, this process of reflection from mirror 1 and mirror 2 goes on continuously. And whenever this type of light oscillations, that's what your final diagram F, when this light oscillation is reached to a certain level, then a large number of photon comes out of this type of mirror M2 or this OM. So that is shown by this diagram F. So this is mirror OM and this is mirror M in every diagram. So that is how this operation of this optical resonator takes place as shown by this particular diagram. So let's see once again, let's repeat what happens here. This is the non-excited state E, then there is a host medium, there is the active centers, the two mirrors which are reflecting 100% reflective. The mirror on the right hand side is semi-transparent mirror, that means some part of that radiation can pass through this mirror. There is no 100% reflection is there, but as this pumping starts, the process of population inversion starts, or when this particular process of population inversion starts, any random photon can cause the stimulated emission. Single photon cause a single stimulated emission. Now there are two photons, these two photons will cause another two stimulated emissions, so that will cause a 4 photons. And now this particular laser, okay, so these are the actual radiations which are in the initial stage, they are having same phase, same direction, and this is what the building of the laser beam. Once this is shown by this operation C after this stimulated emission, and once this particular radiation reach at this mirror OM, they start reflecting back, or they get reflected back because of this property of this mirror OM, and during their passage through this active medium, they cause, this is called as optical feedback, and during that process they cause further stimulated emissions. So number of photons, stimulated number of photons goes on increasing. All this reach to this mirror mirror M on the left hand side, and again get reflected back several times. This process occurs, and that is how light amplification happens, or the intensity of the radiations, laser radiations, goes on increasing in a multiple way, as many as number of such type of oscillations takes place. Oscillations means entire energy goes to the mirror M1, then it goes to mirror M2, again on the side, right, next cycle it goes from M2 or this OM to M1, again M1 to M2, from M2 to M1, and this is called as the optical oscillations, wherein these photons, they are causing further more and more number of stimulated emissions, and every time this amplification or this intensity of the radiation or the laser radiation goes on increasing, and that is the operation called as light amplification. And finally, when this sufficient reach, this light amplification is reached, now this mirror M2 is such that, since it's a semi-transparent, a laser beam can come out of this mirror M2 immediately, and that is how laser amplification is possible. So this entire process of action of laser optical resonator, that is shown by this particular diagram. So we should understand, and you should understand this particular process which is shown by this particular diagram. That tells you very important thing. So at the end, the mirrors reflect light strongly into the laser medium. The light travels are light higher within the resonator. Consequently, the radiation density, okay, so this radiation density, sufficient radiation density, that is given by rho nu. Okay, this is reached. That is called as sufficient radiation density. Radiation density in the cavity. Density in the cavity or in this active medium, that reaches a certain stage, and the radiation density within the is very large, becomes very large, and the medium and the sustain to large within the medium and sustain the stimulated emission. And in general, the active material has a few lasing transitions rather than only one, and it is desirable that the laser oscillates at one frequency and produces a monochromatic light. So whatever light coming out of this is so this entire operation is to be carried out at a single frequency, and whenever this occurs or happens, the light coming out of this is nothing a monochromatic light. So as I said earlier, usually it is not possible to have a only single frequency, but a small band of frequency localized to a particular frequency is supposed to be there, and this type of monochromatic light is expected as an output of this particular thing. So it requires suppression of undesired transitions. So whatever transitions which are not giving same frequency, these transitions are to be suppressed by some mechanism, and this is achieved by coating the mirrors with the suitable materials with highly reflected photons of the desired frequency. So these mirrors are provided certain coating, and that some of the radiations will be absorbed which are not required there, and whatever frequency I am selecting, a particular frequency radiations will be only allowed to come out of this mirror OM, and that's how monochromaticity can be increased of that particular laser of operation, as we have said. At the same time, so undesired frequencies will be absorbed if their certain coatings are provided to this mirror M1 and M2, and a very single or particular frequency radiations will be emitted. So this entire operation in our book, a lot of information has been given there, but just to try to understand, with the help of this diagram we can understand how this stimulated emission comes, how this optical feedback takes place, how light amplification occurs there, how light oscillations are there. So light oscillates between okay, so see the diagram here. In this diagram, all the radiations, okay, in E, all these are shown to be in a particular direction, but when we reach this stage F, there are certain radiations which are shown in the direct direction in the left hand side, some radiations are shown in the direction to the right hand side, and this is what like a standing wave. So standing wave is like this. So there is a what we say, there is a this type of wave is called as a standing wave. Okay, one wave is traveling in this direction and one wave is traveling in this direction. So same type of this type of operation, which is said to be the standing waves, is generated. Standing optical waves are generated, and whenever sufficient energy is reached, the radiation can come out of this mirror M2 and it becomes a laser source. So this is how this entire laser operation takes place. So this particular diagram helps you in understand how this laser operation takes place and how it is taking this particular type of diagram here. Okay, so more about this has been given in your textbook. You can read it later on, but I think it is not needed. Just to try to understand how stimulated emission, how feedback, how light amplification comes in place, how light oscillation takes place, and that's why it is called as an optical oscillator. And therefore, entire diagram it's been mentioned light amplification and oscillation due to the action of the optical resonator. Okay, so this is what the this particular diagram tells you, the action of. Okay, so this diagram shows the action of optical oscillator. So any laser source which is optical laser, this operation has to be carried out, and according to that we have to design a laser in such a manner that what type of frequency we need, what type of active material medium we are using, what type of mirror we are using. Depending upon, there can be several different types of lasers, but the operation of all this is population inversion, stimulated emission, optical feedback, light amplification, and light oscillations. All these stages can be understood through. I'm sure drawing all these diagrams and discussing them, it would have taken a lot of time. So to save that particular time, I have added this figure directly from the book, and with that diagram or with that figure one can understand the entire operation of this laser oscillator or optical oscillator. Okay, this is what the second point we're trying to conduct here or consider here. Now let's go to the next, that is called as threshold condition. So that is called as threshold condition, SHOLD, threshold condition. Now what is this condition? That is what is the minimum amount of this type of operations should go on. Okay, and then a proper laser will be come out. Otherwise this entire operation will stop after some time, and no laser will be an output and will be given as an output. And to go for this type of case, we have to go for one very simple mathematical expression that will be covered here, and then we will stop for today's lecture. So as the light bounces back and forth in the optical resonator, it undergoes amplification as well as suffers various losses. So there is not only amplification, but there are certain losses too. Okay, when this light is passing through this type of active medium, the losses occur mainly due to transmission at the output mirror. Some of the part of every reflection, some part of this light is transmitted through this mirror MOM or mirror M2, and due to the scattering and the diffraction of light within the active medium. So there are even though I have shown this time all the radiations are passing either in the left hand direction or right hand direction, this is not the practical case. Practically there are three different types of losses. So one loss is the optical loss because of transmission through mirror M2, and the second loss, this is optical loss. Second is there can be a possibility of scattering, and because of scattering some light do not come in the direction either left hand side or right hand side, it goes in the random direction. Scattering of light is another phenomenon with which certain energy is lost. And third one is that process, as I have said, diffraction of light or diffraction of light. So these are the three different operations with which that any laser source or active medium loses some amount of laser light. So these three operations, and for the proper build of the oscillations, that means whatever number of oscillations are generated, and if all these oscillations are lost in this way, then a proper laser output will not be there. And to get a proper laser output, we have to minimize these type of losses or all these cases, and therefore a certain threshold condition has to be reached. So for the proper buildup of oscillations, it is essential that the amplification between the two consecutive reflections of the light from rear and mirror, okay, both this can be balanced these particular losses. So whatever loss is there, if this loss is compensated and more radiations are generated, then there is a possibility of the laser action. Otherwise, whatever number of radiations created, if all these radiations are created, simulated emission radiations, and they are lost in the process of these three processes, then this laser won't, the output of the laser won't be there, not to occur there. So we can determine the threshold gain. Okay, so that is the gain by considering the change in intensity of beam of light undergoing a round trip with the resonator. So we have to go for calculating a gain. That gain should be more than 1. So whatever loss, whatever generation, if generation is more than loss, then gain can be more than 1, and whenever this gain is more than 1, then there is a chance of building this particular type of laser beam or generating a laser beam. Otherwise, if gain is negative or is a fraction less than 1, then whatever number of stimulated emission, all the emissions that will be causing out the further emissions, they will be lost in these three processes. And if such type of loss is there is no action of the laser possible. Okay, and therefore for that condition we have to go for this simple mathematical derivation as follows. Okay, now this is what has to be done, and we have to write all these things in the brief. So let us assume that the laser medium fills the space between two mirrors. All the space between two mirrors is filled by this type of active medium or laser medium, mirrors M1 and M2, which have reflectivities, or reflection probabilities, R1 and R2 respectively, and note that R2 is less than R1. R1 is more, R2 is less. Now let mirrors be separated, and we can draw the diagram again here. Separated by a distance, by an optical distance capital L. Mirrors are separated by a distance capital L. Then there is some more points here. Let the intensity of light beam, initial values are there, is I0. Beam be I0 at M1. Near to the mirror M1, first mirror, the light intensity is given to be I0. Okay, now this is what a simple derivation. Then in traveling from mirror M1 to mirror M2, from M1 to M2, the beam intensity increases. Okay, now this is one derivation we have seen earlier. From, okay, initially it was I0 near to the mirror M1 to intensity I at L. Okay, so this is what we have drawn this diagram of. This is mirror M2, this is mirror M1. Distance is given to be, this is capital L, as we have shown here. This is distance L. I have taken I0 is the intensity here, and here intensity at this close to mirror second is taken to be IL. Okay, try to understand these particular numbers here. IL, and which is given by, now relationship between these two, which is given by, now this is what a derivation already we have done in chapter number 2, and if someone remembers this derivation or this particular relation is given by relation for this IL increasing intensity at the mirror 2 in a single oscillation, that is given by IL is equal to I0 initially intensity at mirror M1 into e raised to, in the bracket, gamma minus AS or alpha S multiplied by length L. Okay. Now remember, this gamma is something that is called as gain. This alpha S is, this is the absorption. Now who is bigger? Gamma is bigger or absorption is bigger? Depending upon that, intensity will be increased or intensity will be decreased. That is how intensity of light, which is amplified in this case from mirror M1 to mirror M2, when this particular is reaching or traveling, this intensity will either there will be gain or there will be loss depending upon this gamma and alpha S. Who is bigger? If it is negative, then this will be exponentially decreasing function. If it is positive, then it is exponentially increasing function. We need gamma to be more than alpha S. Okay, so that is to be understood here. Now after this is what first operation, first equation. Now after this mirror, after reflection at M2, after reflection at M2, second mirror, reflection at M2, the beam intensity will be, the beam intensity will be after reflection, because R2 is the component that comes in this particular derivation, will be, now this is given by R2, reflectivity of the mirror 2. Okay, it is R2 must be there, R2 times I0 into e raised to same expression gamma minus alpha S times capital L. Okay, and this is reflectivity comes in picture, and a complete round trip. So this comes started from this mirror M1, reaches mirror M2, and again comes back to this mirror. So this is round trip. So this is what called as a round trip. And after a complete round trip, complete round trip, complete round trip, the final intensity will be, the final intensity will be, that means this radiation has to travel from mirror M1 to M2 and from M2 to M1 again, so that completes a round trip. This will be equal to, now in this case this is given by, the total distance traveled by the beam will be twice L in a round trip, so it is I2L, and this time it is given by R1 times R2. R1 is the 100% reflectivity, R2 is the some less than that reflectivity of mirror 1 and mirror 2, that is product of these two, into I0 multiplied by e raised to, now this is again gamma minus alpha S multiplied by, this time a distance is twice L. This is my equation 2. So we have calculated what is the IL, that is the intensity of the beam at mirror M2, and when it is reflected from this mirror M2, and we have calculated now once again the beam has traveled through the same distance L in the opposite direction. So when it reached at this mirror M1, its intensity is given by I2L, because total time traveled, total distance traveled by this beam will be twice L. Therefore, I2L is equal to R1 into R2 multiplied by R0, I0 times e raised to gamma minus alpha S into 2L. Okay, and now therefore from these two relations, the amplification. Okay, remember, no one is going to ask about you, about in the examination about this, but you will not be able to understand the MCQs unless you study all this study here. That's why that derivations here, that's why I have taken that. The amplification obtained during the round trip, obtained during the round trip, in a single round trip, in a round trip, this is given by G is equal to, this is given by I2L, this is the amplified intensity, and I0 is the initial intensity where we have started. So this is I2L upon I0, and now dividing this relation I2L by I0, this I0 will get cancelled, and final relation I'll get R1 into R2 into e raised to, in the bracket, gamma minus alpha S into twice L. This is my relation number 3. This is relation number 3. Now here the factor, the product This is small r1 into r2. That represents losses at the mirrors. Losses at the mirrors. Okay, this is one. Whereas alpha s, all the distribution losses. All the distribution losses we have already seen: reflection, transmission, then diffraction, etc. Distribution losses such as scattering, diffraction, absorption. Scattering, diffraction, absorption, etc. etc. The losses are balanced by the gain. Okay, when these losses are balanced by the gain. Okay, gain means that is increase. Gain when this G is greater than 1. G is greater than 1, or you can write another relation here. The gain is greater than 1, or we have to have, or this is written as twice L, I of twice L is equal to I0, or I of twice L is equal to I0. Okay, that means I of twice L greater than I0. I of twice L greater than, okay, when the numerator is bigger than denominator, then this will be greater than 1. And that's what we get the condition. This R1 into R2 into e raised to gamma minus alpha s into twice L, just a minute, greater than 1. Just a minute. So this is what the condition we received, that this R1 into R2 into e raised to gamma minus alpha s into twice L must be greater than 1. So further we can readjust this. That is what e raised to gamma minus alpha s into twice L, we can take this quantity here, should be greater than 1 upon R1 into R2. This is the product of the reflectivity. Now take log of both sides. Taking logarithm of both sides. Natural log of both sides. Now log and e, that gives me gamma minus alpha s into twice L, and that will be, now since in the denominator I'll get this to be equal to greater than or equal to minus log of R1 into R2. This is the denominator, that's why negative log that. Or I'll get gamma minus alpha s greater than or equal to, take this twice L here. So this is minus 1 twice L into gamma, alpha can be negative, it will cause here alpha s minus 1 upon twice L into ln of gamma R1 into R2. Or I can change this sign here. This negative sign can be made a positive sign by following way. This gamma greater than or equal to alpha s, this is absorption or loss. This can be written plus 1 upon twice L, and this log that can be written in the denominator, so it can be written as log of 1 upon R1 into R2, and this is the important relation that tells you gain should be governed by this equation for every such operation. Okay, so this is called as condition for lasing. This is what equation number 4. This is called as condition for lasing. Unless this condition is reached, there won't be, so this game should be given by this equation. Unless this condition is reached, there can't be any lasing action or laser action. So it shows that the initial gain must exceed the sum of losses in the cavity. So whatever losses in the cavity, that must be balanced by this particular gain. This condition is used to determine the threshold value of pumping energy necessary for lasing action. So write one statement more here. This condition is used to determine. This condition is used to determine the threshold value of pumping energy necessary for lasing action. So this is what a lasing action is. Now gamma, the amplification factor. Gamma, the amplification factor of the laser, will be dependent on how hard the laser medium is pumped. So that depends. Factor depends on pumping. How large or how to what extent what we pumping we do. As the pump power is slowly increased, a value of gamma called a threshold value. Okay, so this is what the definition, final definition we needed. As the pump power is slowly increased, okay, remember all these things we required here is as shown here. As the pump power is slowly increased, the value of gamma threshold called threshold value, this is what we are calculating here, will be reached. This amplification factor will increase and will reach a certain value called as threshold value, called threshold value will be reached. The laser reach and the laser action starts. So this is what initially, gradually it goes on increasing. Laser action starts. Laser starts oscillating. Action starts oscillating. Unless this is reached, there won't be any value there. And therefore, the threshold is given by the gamma threshold is given by. Okay, this is what same expression would be written. Gamma threshold is equal to alpha s plus 1 upon 2L into log of 1 upon R1 into R2. Okay, this is another our equation number 5. Remember, this equation is one of the very important equation that tells you that therefore if I am having this amplification number or this amplification constant gamma more than gamma threshold, then there is a laser action. If this is not there, condition is not satisfied, then there can be any action here. Okay, therefore for laser to oscillate, what we need is oscillate, gamma should be greater than or equal to at least gamma threshold. So this equation is known as the threshold condition for lasing. Again, this is threshold condition for lasing. And states the criteria when the net gain would be able to counteract the effect of losses in the cavity. The value of gamma must be at least gamma threshold for laser oscillations to commence. If gamma is greater than gamma threshold, the wave group and the amplifier reaches a saturation. If it lowers the value of gamma in turns, and eventually the equilibrium value is attained at gamma threshold. So that is how, anyhow, this amplification must be greater than this gamma threshold. Then and then this laser operation will be there. So here we have finished this particular first derivation here. Today we will stop here. In the next lecture we will go for further critical population inversion, then condition for steady state oscillations, etc. These things will be discussed in the next particular thing here. Okay, so there's small part will be required for that. That will be again half an hour or 1 hour will be required to complete this. Then we will finish this chapter number 2 also here. Okay, let me stop the recording.